Hello or welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate and today I have another vlog update for you. So it's been a couple of days since we've last chatted. I have some really good news though. So I finished all of my exams last week, which is such a relief. I was just in analysis paralysis for like an entire week. It was really a lot. I kind of went into it super positive and excited to just get it over with and kind of like, oh, as long as I can manage my stress, everything will be fine. So I was just like, I walked in and was kind of smiling with everybody and I was like, we got this, guys, like everything's great. We can do it. We're all smart and capable. And I left the first exam in tears. I've never left an exam in tears before. So it just kind of goes to show the ridiculous amount of stress that we're under for these exams. I'm sure I did fine. It ended up being, sorry if you can hear whiskey. It ended up being an issue with one of the stations that we had that I guess a couple of other people had the same issue as me, and I just was so frustrated in the moment and like watching the clock time run out, and I was like, I know how to do this, I just can't do it. So I think there was a simulator issue, but you know what? It's fine. We talk a lot on this channel about perfectionism, especially in the medical field, whether you're a human doctor or an animal doctor, and just kind of striving for that perfection all the time, and just being a type A personality can be really difficult. And so I'm trying to let go of those unrealistic expectations and just hold space for myself to be okay with maybe not always being perfect and maybe not scoring as highly on something as maybe I could have or I feel that I should have. And so the vet life update is exam part 1, or schedule B as it's called here, is completed. So I have about 3 weeks of solid study time before my written exams. That's in, I believe, 3 different parts as well. It's 3 different papers, but they're kind of all different things. So I will likely do more updates on that later. But knitting wise, I was trying to be really good and not work on my colorwork sweater until I had the chance to sit and record and chat with you guys, since I have been kind of MIA in the knitting community for the past week. Instead of working on my Norma sweater, I was working on my Chantal, which I will be putting in a podcast very soon. I know I keep promising that, but I really want to have that done. And I think I can get it done between today and tomorrow. I just have 1 sleeve to go. So, I will show you my Norma and where we're at. Not any different, I don't think, than the last time we checked in. Knitting bags are everywhere in my space. It's been kind of a creative explosion since exams are done. The sun was out and I packed a bag and went to the park with my friend, and we sat and knitted on the side of a hill with the dogs, and it was so relaxing and nice. But now I kind of have project bags everywhere because I'm working on a bunch of different things, kind of like I don't know, it's like anxiety knitting, so it's like all different things that I can like take with me for this or do that when I like don't want to think or use my brain and blah blah blah. So I digress. But here we are with the Norma. There she is in all her glory. So my plan today is to make a lot of progress on her. I want to use up the entire 50 grams of this fiber. But since there's striping now, or the colorwork striping, I do have this whole pink and this whole white to get through too. So we'll see how far that gets me. But I was thinking I'll just take some B-roll. We can sit and hang out. You can grab your knitting, maybe a cup of coffee or tea, and just hang out with me. I'm going to wind this into a ball, and I'll probably show you guys how I do that. It's very primitive because I don't have a ball winder. Also, you may have noticed I don't have my little friend on my shoulder like I usually do. We're gonna see how that goes. I may scrap this whole video, I don't know. But the last video I did, I ended up kind of taking one video with the microphone and one part of the video without, and honestly, without the microphone, I thought it was a little bit clearer, which is strange because the microphone is supposed to be clearer. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, all right, I will jump right into it. Thank you so much for tuning in again, and let's get started. morning. It is Monday, the 17th of March, and it feels like a Sunday. I slept in a little bit this morning, which was really, really nice because I feel like my body has not allowed me to get some good, solid rest in a while. So that was really nice. So it's about 9 a.m. and I'm up and about, and I'm about to figure out what my study plans are for the day. I'm not sure if I want to take the dog for a walk and then leave for a couple of hours, or if I feel like I could be really productive in the office here today. Still up in the air. But I'm having my coffee, and I thought I would show you my most up-to-date update on the sweater. So, had a bit of a crazy day yesterday. I ended up hanging out with some friends yesterday, and they were playing in a football game. The vet school has they have a women's football team that I used to be a part of, but due to some health reasons that hopefully will be sorted out soon, I had taken a little sabbatical this year, but it's always fun to go and watch them kick butt. So they won 4-0 against the Maine University's, one of their level 4 team. I think there's 4 levels, so they weren't the highest level, but they were definitely they were pretty good. But we beat them, so and we're a student-run team as well, so we don't have a coach or anything like that. So kudos to the captains for being so good and getting us to look that good on the field. It was really fun to watch. So I brought my knitting with me, and I was knitting during the game. And then I went back to my friend's house and I did some knitting there while we cooked some dinner, and then we watched Wicked. I'm not much of a musicals girl, but I was dying to see Wicked since I really like The Wizard of Oz. So it was really nice to see. I think the message in it is really nice. But yeah, there were a couple hard to watch scenes, like with the monkeys. But anyway. Okay. The part you've been waiting for. It's coming along really nicely, don't you think? So I had started recording myself doing this bottom stripe here. I'm practicing showing things on camera. This bottom stripe here. And I was showing you guys yesterday as I was recording for B-roll, and I realized I messed up the pattern like immediately. I was doing another pink and brown row to create that kind of this part of the striping, that pink and brown at the top, and I accidentally did that 3 times instead of 2 times because I wasn't paying attention and I didn't realize it was already on my needles. So that was a bit silly. So I had to frog back for that, and then when I frogged back, I did another 4 rounds of knitting and then realized I dropped a stitch way back when I frogged back. Luckily I had my handy dandy crochet hook, so if you have never tried using a crochet hook to fix your drop stitch, basically what you do is you find the drop stitch, you pick it up with a crochet hook, and then you pick up the ladders behind it, and then you can, if you get your needles to the point where the drop stitch is, you can just pick up that drop stitch and knit it as normal, which is a huge lifesaver. So I didn't have to pull out 4 rounds of knitting. I just had to slip enough stitches onto the other needle to be able to add that stitch back in and then slip them all back on. So that was good. It was almost a freak out, but then I remembered that trick. So because I really didn't want to have to do it a second and third time. So that was fixed. I was able to finish all that color work in the round, and then I have since done, I think my last count was 12 rows of the brown, and then I'm kind of low. This is all of the yarn I have left, so I could probably do another 3 rows of the brown, but for now I think that's a good place to pause on the sweater before I do another spin. That way I can just go right through, and if I want to pick this up and do another row I can, and I've got time. But I am working on a hat for my friend's birthday that was yesterday, but she knows that the hat is going to be a little bit late just because of exams. And then I am finishing the last sleeve, finally, on my Chantal sweater. So I really want to finish that sleeve before I make my next podcast video. I know it's been 3 weeks since my last podcast, and I was kind of thinking it being a once a month check-in, but I do want to, between this series and the podcast, I think that could be okay, but depending on how prolific I am going forward with new projects, I may do that more frequently, but I don't know. That's not set in stone yet. Let me know in the comments if there's a preferred time frame that you guys like to see. I know for me, with knitters that are really prolific, sometimes it's every 2 weeks. I'm just not. I'm trying to be a bit more less monogamous in my knitting. I tend to hyper-focus on one thing because I'm nervous if I don't hyper-focus, it won't get done. But yeah, I think I've been doing a little bit better. I do have languishing whips that are in the other room that I haven't even touched in I just haven't touched in a really long time, and I don't think that I'll pick them up anytime soon. I think right now I'm focusing on new projects and projects that I've recently started, and kind of as a clean slate for the new year, and just see where those other projects fit in to the inspiration that I'm getting now. So yeah, so I have ideas for what I want to cast on next. I think once the sleeve is done on the Chantal, I will be updating you guys. But yes, on this vlog, for the purposes of this vlog, the sweater, the spin to knit sweater, I'm going to do another brown spin this week for sure. The white and pink, let's see what we've got. So the white and pink are still in pretty good shape. This is my pink, it just slipped off. This bag did a lot of travel yesterday. So this pink and this is white. So I think I've got enough for the rest of the body because I only have to do 2 more sets of striping, and I probably even have enough to start on a sleeve. So I think these are fine. It's just the brown that is needing to be spun. And I did notice, you won't be able to see the difference, but the brown is, and forgive me if I've mentioned this before, but the brown is a little bit more, not necessarily rustic, but like denser feeling almost than the white and pink. And you can actually kind of tell when you feel the sweater, it's like really soft, and then a little bit almost like it feels like a thicker, denser fabric than the white and pink, which is funny because they're the same gauge and they're all different spins, but they're all done the same way. And the white and the brown are from the same breed of sheep, but I'm wondering if the brown, because of those different staple lengths, is just creating a different fabric. I think, just kind of feeling how it feels, I believe after it's washed, it should soften up quite a lot, but it already looks like nice and drapey. So not that I was going for drapey. I just want this to be a nice, cozy, oversized sweater. I don't know how oversized it's going to be, because if I hold it up to myself, you can kind of appreciate that the shoulders don't go off my shoulders by much. Like, it's definitely not super oversized, but I'm wondering if it'll stretch when it's blocked, because yeah, there's definitely room for growth in these stitches for sure. Yeah, there's definitely some stretch there. So we'll see what happens. I'm very curious. And I apologize if I'm looking down a lot during this video. I am still trying to figure out how best to record my vlogs, and right now I just have my computer up to try to see and make sure I'm in frame, but sometimes I forget to look right at the camera, so I'm working on it. We're getting there. Well, I hope you had a lovely weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I do apologize again for the length of time between videos. That will get better, and we'll be more consistent. I only have one more set of exams, and then we're kind of on a steady schedule of I know exactly what I'm doing, where I'm going to be for the next year or so. So we should be more consistent. Hopefully we'll make some really good progress in the next few weeks on the sweater. I know I mentioned I had surgery this week. I no longer have surgery this week, which is a massive bummer, but I digress. So I will definitely be here knitting, spinning, studying, lots of studying. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Bye.